In this video, we are going to create the AI behavior for our skeleton. Previously, we would focus on the individual character and write out its content. Well, we've already done that twice and we've noticed that, hey, we're being redundant. Now it makes sense why we have our base class enemy. So let's see how easy it is now to use our base class to create a new enemy. All we have to do here is create a new C# script inside of our enemy folder. And let's call this skeleton. Go ahead and open this in Visual Studios. And the first thing that I want to do is I want to straighten up my code. So here we have skeleton inherits model behavior, and I avoid start and update. I'm going to remove those. What I am going to do is we have here public class skeleton inherits model behavior. That's not what we want. We want skeleton to inherit from the enemy class. We're going to save this, and we also want to include our initialization method. So here we're going to say public override, and we can choose from the drop-down menu here, init. Once we save this, we can head back into Unity, select our skeleton enemy object, and let's drag our skeleton game object onto it, or our skeleton script onto the game object. That's going to add the skeleton component, and you'll see here that we have variables like health, speed, gems, and our waypoint. So here for speed for the skeleton, we're going to set it to 1. And then we need to give the skeleton now some waypoints. So before we actually add this script, or actually we can do it with the script on because we're going to remove everything, is let's create our waypoints. So for the starting position of our skeleton, where is it going to be? Right here. It's going to be at the edge. It's going to move to here. So with it in the position that we want, which is at -7.44, we're going to take it, duplicate it, and we're going to call this skeleton point A, or point_A skeleton, to keep consistent. Once we've done that, we will then duplicate this again to create point B. So here we have point B skeleton, and remove the 1s. Okay, I'm going to take point B and move it to the end here. And then I'm going to take both of these components, point B and A, and select them both at the same time. I'm going to remove the script component on them. And then I'm going to delete the sprite beneath them. We do not want them having any visuals. We just want their transform for the code logic. Now that we have done that, on our skeleton script, we can take point A and drag it to point A, and take point B and drag it to point B. Let's save this. Let's head into Unity and run our game. If all works well, we should have just created our enemy AI and everything should work. And as you can see, he's going to idle and walk back. Idle and walk back. In literally, I'd say we just saved 75% of our efforts in using class inheritance to easily create a new enemy. Imagine you had 50 enemies and how easy it is to set them up. You no longer need to write the individual's behavior, although they're capable of having their own unique behaviors. And we'll get more into that later. But for the most part, we have a system here that's very modular to where we can easily add new enemies with minimal work. The last thing we're going to do here is I want to adjust the speed value of this enemy. He looks like he's moving a little quick. So I'm just going to take his speed parameter and make it about 0.3. See, 0.3. So the reason why I can't do 0.3 is because in the enemy class, if we look, it is an int. So actually I want that to be a float. So we're going to say protected float health. I'm sorry, not float health, but speed. Protected float speed. Let that compile. And then now I can change this to a much slower speed. Let's run this. All right, select our skeleton enemy. And let's adjust the speed to about 0.3. And there we go. Definitely way too slow, but you get the idea. So maybe 6. And that's much better. All right, guys, I will see you in the next set of videos.